Last time on Dragon Ball Z, the battle for Saiyan supremacy raged on.
Super elite that does it, that's it! This planet is history!
With Tyrone and Vegeta readying their final attacks, who will prevail? Grab your scouters and witness the epic conclusion right now on Dragon Ball Z.
Uh-oh. What is going on? Get on over to endymion and subscribe. Tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. See what the hell is going on with Akira Toriyama.
Hey everyone, it's endymion, and today we need to look into some pressing concerns. Sure, the Assassin's Creed Ubisoft nonsense is still exploding, which I've already covered plenty on the channel, but there's so many battles to fight, I gotta keep you guys up to date on all of them. So this video is all about Dragon Ball Z's upcoming game Sparking Zero, as well as how the Dragon Quest 3D 2D remake, which are all titles created and designed by Akira Toriyama himself, may his soul rest in peace, and how these games are now being attacked for woke Western influence that is ruining everything, and I need more people to see this so that it's more well known. And then we'll get into the Nexus mod situation and show you how this culture war battle is being fought on multiple fronts. Alright, let's get into it.
Fuck Goku Black.
To start, you already know that Sparking Zero is coming. It's the next Budokai Tenkaichi game and has an insane amount of characters playable from the get-go. The game is also selling like hotcakes in terms of pre-orders on Steam alone, which I mean good for them. And people obviously love their Dragon Ball, and hey, you can't blame them. However, as you'll see throughout this video, these woke morons are spitting on the legacy of the late Akira Toriyama in multiple ways. For starters, the dialogue has been changed in Sparking Zero. Back to January, I extensively covered the rise of localizers, who made it their mission to pander and ruin as much Eastern content as possible by injecting identity politics into games. A lot of the time, these localizers, or as I like to call them, vocalizers, see themselves as the creators of these IP, when in reality, of course, they are hired to simply translate the dialogue from Japanese to English. But this is never what ends up happening, and stupid nonsense always makes its way through to official releases. For example, as Bounding Into Comics showed recently in their article titled, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero English localizers rewrite Akira Toriyama's original manga script, inserting Zoomer lingo into classic Vegeta versus Kid Trunks
what do you mean?
dialogue.
Okay, so let's see what you mean.
The denigration of Toriyama's life work continues even with these new age games. They are simply not willing to let go of their pandering, even if it means ruining a man's life's work. Dragon Ball Z, as you know, is clearly not an example of the real world. Besides the fact that it stars a literal alien humanoid with a monkey tail that can turn into a giant ape if the full moon shined on him, well, until it got cut off, I guess. And there's also a guy called Piccolo that looks like an actual pickle himself. Yeah, this world is not exactly real, guys.
I know that all of the characters are puns on certain things. A lot of it's food. If Piccolo is a pun on a pickle, and I just figured it out now. I was 47 years old when I figured out that Piccolo's name was a pun on pickle, when I knew that the majority of the characters were puns on food. But I always thought it was the flute. I was like, it was just so. Is it a pun on the flute, just being the flute, that particular musical instrument, a piccolo? Or is it pickle? I know he's green. Oh, God.
Still dinosaurs on this planet. There's people who are literal humanoid pigs.
I never thought
Nothing
about
really
it.
makes sense in Dragon Ball's world, but that's why we love it so much.
Yeah.
But what I hate more than anything that these Western morons do is they feel the need to ensure that you can never escape their fabricated woke realities, no matter what game or property you're trying to enjoy in the current day. For example, here, the vocalizers decided that Trunks was not pandering enough to young kids of today, so now the dialogue in the game here where Vegeta says, "If you can punch me in the face, I promise I'll take you to that amusement park you're always going on about." Okay, so far so good, but then what does Trunks respond with? He says, "No cap, let's go." Ah, okay, so Trunks is a Zoomer kid from the 2020s now, because vocalizers are idiots and they feel the need to insert real-world slang into a world that is not representative of the actual...
Okay, I was concerned they might have woked it up. This is just dumb additions to the language. No cap.
world at all. Trunks was made well before these Zoomer
Guess
kids
they modernized
were
it.
born,
Yep.
so why would he be speaking like one of them? Sadly,
Yeah.
this disrespect of Japanese or really just Asian Eastern culture in general, it's all over the place. Unfortunately, a lot of these Western people truly do believe that they know better than the East, and it is their right as Western-born people to rectify and fix what the East presents as their art. I don't agree with that at all, however. I believe it is being changed and ruined for one simple reason,
Even
which
you,
is pure
Kakarot.
jealousy. They hate that they can't resonate or make things that speak to the consumer or fan these days the way that these Asian creators can. Remember that when Akira Toriyama passed, Chris Kindred, who works at Sweet Baby Inc., and actually was the person who ignited Gamergate 2 into happening in the first place, said that Akira Toriyama was racist. They said this when the man was
I
just
remember
announced
that.
to have passed.
I remember
Toriyama
that.
gave us the best and worst black characters.
Almost
in anime
forgot,
in the
endymion.
series. It took range to do that. They can't even allow themselves to be respectful of a man who just died without somehow, some way injecting their political talking points into it. Imagine shaking Toriyama's family's hand.
Yeah, it was all people going on and on about Popo. And I was concerned when I was younger, like when black people saw that, we were like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on here? But then you see a picture of what he's based on, and it's like, oh, he looks exactly like one. It's not like a making fun of black people thing. It's a mystical, magical, god-like thing or whatever.
And saying he did good work, but he
What
was
is it, a
actually
djinn or
kind of
something like
racist
that?
too. Are you being serious right now? Like, what gives you the right? But this is how these sorts of people, this monolith we fight against daily, acts and thinks like. I also remember when Gamergate 2 was first popping off, a voice actor for Sparking Zero, whose name is Zeno Robinson, they play Gamma 2 in Sparking Zero, by the way, was attacking people like Kerbrutus Rambo for when Kerbrutus told his supporters about Tales of Zao being a Sweet Baby Inc. game. Zeno Robinson would reply against Kerbrutus and say, "Anyway, if you aren't a Twitter check engagement farming uneducated racist troll and want to play a game rich in African culture, and about grief that parallels the creator's grief and gratitude in a beautiful tribute to his father, here's the link." Of course, Zeno would double down as they always do. Another creator named Gothix, who you may remember was once a part of Black Girl Gamers, which is a Sweet Baby-like company, ousted Black Girl Gamers and said that she was excommunicated and removed from that group because she dared to speak against identity politics and didn't agree with them 100%. And then Zeno Robinson, this Dragon Ball voice actor, would respond to a user months back when this story was making the rounds by saying, that person, Gothix, if we're talking about the same person, is pretty transphobic, shares very right-wing ideologies, and laughs at racist jokes, so the values clearly didn't align. She seems to be just upset she got kicked out. Zeno tried to justify Gothix getting kicked out of Black Girl Gamers because she was right-leaning, but it gets worse because it always does. Users then came to Gothix's defense, and Zeno would further double down more and say, "So you ignored everything I said, transphobia, political misalignment, general moral value difference as to why she might have been kicked out, and brought up an innocuous tweet that some other person said as a reason why she might be right." Ah, I love it when they tell themselves like this. It's where Zeno says the reason why the left liberal crazies kick people out of their groups is because of political misalignment. This quite literally means that if you don't agree with us 100%, therefore, you are kicked out.
Said the quiet part out loud.
Voice actors are the same kinds of people who defend any DEI agenda pushing nonsense.
There's some cool
It's a
footage
big
shots
shame
he got
these
here.
sorts of people are attached to things like Dragon Ball.
I know I've
or
seen
games
some
such
of
as
them, but
Sparking Zero in any way.
These look
because
crazy.
they don't represent the community at large. They are an echo chamber that wants to destroy what good people make and then turn it to fit their own warped version of the world. Unfortunately, Toriyama's work and designs were further ruined in the upcoming Dragon Quest III 2D remake, where fans complained that the game's altered outfits to make them less revealing. And when you made your character in the beginning, it no longer would say male or female, but instead body type 1 or 2. This enraged a lot of people, and rightfully so. However, recently during Tokyo Game Show, Yuji Horii, the creator of Dragon Quest, was interviewed alongside Kazuhiko Torishima, who was the former Shonen Jump editor-in-chief. These men were asked at TGS about these changes. Why alter Toriyama's designs? Why change male and female to body types? Although I cannot show you the clip out of fear of being copyrighted, I can read you what they said. So here's what both Horii and Torishima said in a joint statement about not only Dragon Quest's changes to Toriyama's designs, but the absolute state of Western society destroying everything because it's being led by woke morons. They said, and I quote, "There are so many restrictions for exposed skin. If there's more exposure, the age rating has to go up. That means we can't sell it for all ages. Compliance is like an all-powerful god. It's something that is using the name of good, but is actually bad. It's impossible every single person doesn't feel uncomfortable. It's fine to feel uncomfortable, beautiful and ugly, good and evil, it depends on the person. It's fine as long as they don't do what you're not allowed to do. In Western countries, there's a root of thinking based on religion, and it influences their sex education, right? Their attitude to compliance is really narrow-minded. When selling manga in America and the West, everything had to be categorized by age groups. With Shonen Jump, they couldn't be sold unless they were rated age 13 and older because there's a risk of lawsuits and they need to have insurance. Doing business with a ridiculous country like this is such a hassle. Coming from this, Japan gets negatively influenced as well. In Dragon Quest, you used to be able to choose between a male and female protagonist. But now, you can't choose between a man and a woman anymore. We have to call them Type 1 and Type 2. I truly wonder who was even complaining about this. Doing business with such a ridiculous country is really frustrating.
Insanity.
End quote.
Insanity.
As you heard, these changes that are being made to these Japanese games, in this case Dragon Quest and Dragon Ball, both properties which very obviously are heavily influenced by the late Akira Toriyama's designs, are being nerfed, ruined, and relegated by the West and the West alone. These games are not being censored because of the Japanese creators. They are, as you just heard, they're just as fed up about this crap as we all are. You really think that Yuji Horii, who's been making Dragon Quest games for literal decades before I was even born, wanted to change male or female to body types? Of course he doesn't want to do that. The man grew up in a time where such political nonsense
Type 1 and Type 2.
For guys as old as them, they probably look at these younger people, especially those in the West, as complete and utter lunatics. The reality is sadly that these legacy creators who have spearheaded the direction of legendary titles in storefronts like Shonen Jump, which of course has exposed the world to titles like Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece, and more, they are just as fed up as you are, dear viewer. They unfortunately have their hands tied because the West is being ran by actual crazy people these days. They don't want to censor the outfits in Dragon Quest, or allow these moronic dialogue changes in Sparking Zero, and God knows what else in the future. The sobering reality is that there is a gate between the Eastern content and the Western masses. And for this content to pass through said gate, the West, like some sort of troll on a bridge, is demanding that these creators pay a toll. You have to turn the male and female bodies to gender neutral. You have to cover up your characters, or we will age restrict your game, leading to less sales and exposure. I mean, my God, they even changed some of the enemy designs.
It's alright, parents still buy it for their kids. Take it, MA. Like, most parents, let me tell you something. Especially when I was growing up, I'm like, I knew kids in 4th grade. We were in 4th grade talking about rated R movies. I wasn't allowed to see rated R movies until I was like 18. Although I snuck and watched them at some point. Like, I don't know when I saw my first rated R movie. Oh, the first rated R movie I saw was Predator 2. Because my friends tricked me into going. We were supposed to be going to see something else, but they took me to see that because they knew I wasn't allowed to see rated R movies. So they were like, nah, F that. Nah, T, we know this is going to be a banger. You going. It's that type of thing. So, and their dad was in on it. Their dad brought his, it brought all of them, me and my brother. And we were in the movie theater when it came on. We were like, I remember that. I can't remember how old I was when Predator 2 came out, but God, I know I was young. I know I was real young. So, yeah, parents are gonna buy it anyway. Just take it, take the rating, and put in it what you want to put in it. Companies.
In Dragon Quest by making the lips get erased because the West looked at it and went, "Oh, these look like black people or something." Like, no, it's a troll ogre thing. But this is how they think, dude. It's awful. It's all these stupid restrictions being pressed down on these creators that have no business whatsoever doing this in the first place. I know many people on social media has said...
Yeah, they did that because over here, black people in the past have been drawn like that. But I can't lie, when I saw the lips, that's immediately what I thought right away. Because I've seen it before. It's, this country is steeped in a lot of racism. And, I immediately thought that, so, but I wasn't offended. And I realized it was just a troll. I didn't think that they were trying to make it say that black people are trolls or this, or trolls look like black people, or this is supposed to be a black person. Like, I didn't even think that, but I immediately got that feeling inside because I've seen it in the past,
I'm not buying Dragon Quest 3 Remake, or I want to boycott Sparking Zero because of the localization changes. I would tell you not to do that. You'll be hurting these brands and their creators more than anything else. But what you can do is voice your opinions on social media, go to their websites of these companies like Bandai Namco and Square Enix, and then flood them with emails saying, "Hey, stop doing this woke crap, we don't want it." You need to reward good games, and I think
Or vote with your wallet. This is the year of the wallet. Many people are letting companies know, I'm just not going to buy it. You'll figure it out. And they are. Talk to Ubisoft. Talk to Bud Light.
I can confidently say when I look at Dragon Quest and Sparking Zero...
Was Bud Light last year, though? I can't remember. All this time runs together. You know what I mean? I can't remember. I think Bud Light was last year, right? Maybe not. I can't remember.
I do see quality products being made, but they are unfortunately being ruined by localizers and Western ones especially. And the reality is these localization efforts done by Westerners are about a fraction of the process. We should be exposing those people, shining a light on them like the cockroaches they are. I mean, some people have said, well, I'll just play Sparking Zero in Japanese so that dialogue won't be there, right? Sadly, that's not true, as Bounding Into Comics replied when they exposed Sparking Zero's localization issues, where they said, "Unfortunately, this localization change was found via the Japanese dub with English subs. As such, it's also certain that this change, and any other potential others, will be present in all English scripts, audio, and written. These Western morons are ruining gaming for everyone, and the actual good creators out here are being reprimanded and forced to obey their demands, or they won't have their games sold in that lucrative part of the world. The fact that there's an actual line in Sparking Zero where Gotenks says, 'Come on, I'm a certified Giga Chad, just let me join you,' you can tell that that line was 1000% written by some stupid woke Westerner and a Japanese writer. Also, shout out to the DEI Detected Discord server for helping me find that image. I could not, for the life of me, find that Gotenks quote anywhere. No idea how they found it. I saw it on Twitter and I thought I bookmarked it, but my stupid ass forgot to, but thanks for the help, guys. But this is what they're doing to your favorite Japanese games, and they are spitting on the legacy of Akira Toriyama in the process by doing this.
Oh,
His work should be celebrated, and above else, respected and preserved for what it is. But these woke freaks will not stop till it all complies with their garbage, disgusting morals and codes. So vote with your wallets, yes, but in this instance, it's more important than ever to speak with your voices. Tell these companies to stop doing this, call it out, and never feel scared if someone tries to silence or cancel you for it. The truth, as they say, will set you free, so keep doing it, guys. Next, let's talk about Nexus mods, which perfectly mirrors what I've been talking about in this video already. So speaking of Western idiots injecting identity politics, you may remember that Anger Boda is black in God of War Ragnarok. A Norse character that would not be black at all, that's not racist to say by the way, Nords are not black, the same way a Jamaican person is not a Chinese guy. Anyway, a user made a mod where they turned...
People are going to jump on you for that. I know exactly what you mean by that. But Peter is like, oh, well, when you go to Jamaica, you see black people, you see white people, you see Chinese people all living there, and they're all Jamaican. But I know what you meant.
Turn Anger Boda into a white girl again because she's Nordic. Of course, this was labeled racist and wrong thing by Nexus mods and was removed a mere hour after being uploaded onto the site. This, like you could imagine, caused quite a firestorm for Nexus mods, but Nexus was instead blocking people on Twitter who didn't agree with their decision, which is very professional of them. Very nice, Nexus. You guys are idiots, but that's not surprising. However, users did start to point out that Nexus mods was not applying their ideology of foreskin changes on characters fairly. Considering right now on their website you can download a mod that turns Geralt of Rivia from The Witcher 3 into a black man. And that mod, of course, has been left on the site forever now. But let me ask you this. What's the difference between turning a white character like Geralt black and turning Anger Boda white? The answer is nothing, by the way. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah,
Anger Boda being made white is considered racist, then so too should the Geralt mod, but we know that this selective outrage is only being applied in one direction always. This is what I've been saying about these Western weirdos for a long time now, and their inability to properly ever read the world or understand their core audiences. Mods are designed to do as they're intended to do, which is to...
I wish a lot of you were alive for the 80s. And the 90s. The 80s and 90s were great. They really were. And they had their bad parts. I wish you guys were alive for that. Man. Heard the 70s were pretty damn cool too. But that's when I was born. I don't know, man. I was born in 77. So, but, man. Even though, I mean, I would trade this time we're living in for the early 2000s, for the 90s, for the 80s, any day. I cannot stand that I am experiencing all of this insanity right now.
Mod, duh, I know. But removing mods because they don't align with your ideology is the antithesis of what you should be pushing.
I wonder if this is how people felt when the whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll, free love type of stuff was going on. Because that was wild. People just having sex with anybody they wanted to, doing all types of drugs, listening to rock and roll all day. That had to seem insane to them too. Which is, I mean, look, I'm not driving around the country in a Scooby-Doo van smoking weed all day, effing random people. No, that's not for me. But I know how it can sound fun to a lot of you, but if you really sit down and analyze that type of life, you don't think it's going to yield great results.
As a modding website. If Geralt can be black, but Anger Boda can't be white, then neither should be allowed on principle alone. But you idiots always seem fine with white characters being race swapped, yet consistently always get outraged when a black character is turned white. It's the Toriyama Dragon Quest nonsense all over again. Rules for thee, but not for me. Oh, you can sell your game, but only if you remove gender from your character creator, and you can sell your Dragon Ball game, but you gotta let our localizers in, and then change dialogue so it reflects the real world in the West. All of these changes are beyond the confines of stupidity, and none of it makes any real sense. The only way to logically wrap your head around any of this is to simply understand that these people hate you, and they are crazier than you even give them credit for. As Sile pointed out on Twitter like he always does, and he has all the receipts, oh, Anger Boda can't be white, that's racist. But anyways, here's some mods for Street Fighter on Nexus Mods that turns Cammy into a black woman. It's always the same thing every single time. It's totally fine to turn white characters black, but never the other way around. As Sile shows in this image, just look at
this stuff is crazy. This stuff is crazy.
Is black now. Peter Pan is an Indian boy. April is now a fat black woman. Velma turned both her and Shaggy into non-white people. Snow White with skin as white as snow. Just kidding, she's a Latina now. Cleopatra is black as well, and all of the other changes in this is totally fine, guys, because turning white characters into other ethnicities is completely and totally the morally good thing to do. But turn one single black character white, and everybody quite literally loses their minds.
I was going to say, everybody loses their minds.
Nexus Mods also allows you to turn characters in Kingdom Come Deliverance into black people. That's okay too, but no way if you want to whitewash something now that's a problem. What a bunch of woke losers, man. And of course, if you look at their team, which they publicly share on their website, it's ran by a mostly white liberal group of people. It's always like...
And I know there are people that would counter that and say, well, white people whitewash things for years, so it's about your time for everything to get blackwashed. Listen, I believe in just doing things the right way. Just be truthful and do things the right way. So if a character's supposed to be this, it's not payback time. It's just do the character right time. All right?
Like this. The white guilt-ridden activists
because it'll just go back and forth.
The
pendulum will keep swinging like
Nexus
that. Everybody will want
is
payback all the time.
a lot of these translators are ruining the integrity of someone like Akira Toriyama's work as well. Of course, it never stops there. I just want to quickly shine a light again on someone who has in the past made content worst on purpose, and this vocalizer mentality is just rampant throughout the industry. Katrina Leonidakis, or however you say their name, is one of these translators that's working in stuff like manga, games, and so on. And people like this have been ruining your favorite things for a while now. An example, one user asked this Katrina person about how they do translations, where they said, I'm honestly curious, so you are transforming the translation because you don't like the material that is given to you. On an officially published project, why not take on another project instead? Good question. Here's what Katrina had to say. This may surprise you, but I love the material. 1, the translation is not for you. Translation, you are not the intended audience. I think this user's response perfectly surmises what we're all thinking right now. We are inclusive. You are not the intended audience.
Exactly.
What? Exactly. This, my friends. It is
but
just
you were
like
inclusive.
Nexus Mods and the ridiculous demands placed upon Akira Toriyama's work like Dragon Ball and Dragon Quest are subjected to. These things are being co-opted and ruined by individuals who not only hate you, but actually believe this content is not made for you, when it should be. But they go in anyway and change things to make it more for them, which they hope will make you not want to play it or something, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, look at the upcoming game Metaphor Refantasio. It's from the Persona people. I think it's a terrible name for a game, but at least it's not as bad as Infinite Undiscovery, I guess. Every translation is designed to ruin these things. Here's the translation of Metaphor done by these translators, where in Japan it should say, the Elder tribe is already rare, so be careful, try not to get tangled up with them. But in English, that same thing was made to say officially, which means a dopey elder kid's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. Try to keep your head down, okay? It's just very condescending and annoying sounding. It happens again, same game Metaphor, where in Japanese it should say again, do you know where you are going? If you are in doubt, feel free to ask. Very polite, it's straightforward, it's not condescending. How is it presented in English? Well, they say, do you know where you're going? Feel free to admit that you're lost and ask me for advice. These translators are laughing at you, and they are being condescending.
See
on
what they're
purpose.
doing there. Yeah.
Every character must seem better than you, like it's a labor in order to help you do things. And this is what these translators are. Here's what that Katrina, the translator person, said at one point. Here, watch.
Not only that, but when you're subtitling, everybody can hear what they're saying. And you have a lot of people, especially young people like millennials and Gen Z, who got really into Japanese through anime. So they started learning a little bit of Japanese. So they are very loud on social media when they hear something and they're like, wait, that's not what the subtitle said. These people don't know what they're doing. And it's like, no, you guys, like, you know, this is a skilled profession. We know what we're doing. We didn't change it to spite you in your Japanese 101 class. Like, this is actually what they said. You just don't understand the challenges of it. Change it to spite you in your Japanese 101 class. Like,
and unfortunately, these people hate you, and they're employed. Whether it's Nexus Mods or translators, we need to call these people out. Otherwise, nothing will ever change about the industry in due time. And things just keep
You
getting
got a hover
dumber as time
sword
goes on.
instead of a hoverboard.
Like, you know things
Funny.
are cooked when people are coming after My Little Pony artists because they didn't draw their pony characters with black-coded concepts like hair. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not.
Wait,
These
what did that say?
hair. I draw their pony.
Just read The Storm of Zephyr Heights, and it's a super cute comic. I'm very excited for more of it. I don't know what's Witness name. It's like a totally different main style texture with all the cowlicks and lack of cornrows.
Me characters with black-coded concepts like hair. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not. These freaks attacked this Andy guy who draws this, saying he was whitewashing a goddamn pony of all things. And they demanded that he changed it back to the more braided black-coated look. And he literally said that Hasbro told him to not reference that specific version when drawing these characters. And he eventually just threw his arms up and was like, you know what, screw it, I'm just done with you people. Like, you know the West is cooked when people are complaining that a magical pony is not black enough. I hate it here, guys. Then you wonder why the Japanese look at the West like we're lunatics all the time. We're over here saying that there's a million genders. We're all designing new flags every other day so mundane people can feel special somehow. And if you call out any of this, you're crazy and also a bigot. I would say stop being lunatics would be a good first step. I'm getting really sick of the insane asylum patients thinking that they know better how to run the asylum that they're being placed in the first place. But this is where we're at right now. While games like Sparking Zero are selling like crazy in pre-orders, and they are not shying away from masculinity or anything like that, they are still being sabotaged by these freaks, and Dragon Quest as well, sadly too. And the same people who claim
Vote
to
with
be
your wallet.
tolerant, they always tend to prove that they are instead the least tolerant people in the world. Nexus mods is full of idiots. These Western freaks are spitting on Toriyama's legacy, and now My Little Pony of all things is getting attacked. Like, why the hell am I talking about My Little Pony? I'm a 32-year-old man. What even is life anymore, dude? Alright, I'm done. I'm gonna go play video games and just yell at the sun. So thank you for watching, subscribe, thanks to my supporters. Have a wonderful day, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yell at the sun. Oh, man. If you enjoyed my reaction, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. And I will see you later. 10 million subscribers.